When I started growing my coaching practice nearly 15 years ago, the conversation, the phrase kept coming up of what is your niche? What's your niche? Who do you want to support? And being a good people-pleasing child of the 80s and 90s was like, I just want to help everybody. I sounded like something out of Miss World. And yes, it's true. Of course, I want to help as many people as I can. But the second thing is I've also realized I'm never going to help everybody, because some people won't like me and some people won't like what I do. They won't get it. And that's okay. And in a way, I saw it as like an arrogance. The more I was like, I just want to help everybody. It's like, no, not everybody wants to be helped by you. You don't have to do all the things. And yet I really struggled with this niche conversation because I didn't want to feel limited or bored by my business. Wow, that's quite a confession. I didn't want to do the same thing every day, solve the same problem at the same chair in the same way. That was not enough variety for me. So this conversation around niche was really tricky, because that was what everybody was saying I needed to look out. Like, who is your customer avatar? And I said this to a coach once of like, well, I don't know. People like just sort of come to me, and that was against the rules. Like, do they just come to you? But how? How are you seeing what they're doing on Facebook and then translating it into another bit of code here? I didn't know how to do that. One of the things though, I still don't know my niche, by the way. And if you look at my website and my Work With Me page, there are so many different types of people that I've worked with, from founders to healers to DJs to chefs to photographers to tech startups to trailblazers to pop stars, like all of the people. And what I can say is that they've all been looking for is they wanted to reconnect with their life first. And maybe something external prompted this, or maybe it was an internal shift by themselves. But they would come to me in two stages. One was, I need to change everything. I need to totally dismantle my business, my work, my career, and start again and put all of the pieces together. So maybe that was from a point of something has happened, so they needed to work in a different way. Maybe they were starting a new career, so they just finished a training, and then there was that thing of like, oh my gosh, I've got to get clients now. How do I do that? What's that all about? Or sometimes I would work with people who knew there was something more. And I've been like that in my own business over the last 25 years, where I've been bobbing along, singing a song, like in Bed Knobs and Broomsticks, having a lovely time. And yet I was comfy. And I knew in myself that there was more. And sometimes that was like, I'd quite like to try that, or maybe I should think about that, or I'm not sure. It would be in that kind of light-hearted way. But sometimes the Scorpio fire would come out of me talking not necessarily nicely to myself and saying, you need to sort yourself out. Why are you not doing that? You should be doing that. She started at the same time as you, and you're nowhere near that. So it's time to move. It's time to shift. And sometimes that voice and the way that it speaks to me is not necessarily nice. But I tell you what, it gets me into action, and it gets me moving and shaking. And so my niche, to go back to the original question, is for people who need to reassess and maybe go back to basics. Go back to that life first. What am I here to do? What does success look and feel like to me? What's important to me? And it's so easy to get lost along the way in busyness, in external stuff that's happening out in the world, in a must-do day-to-day basis of like, you know, I had 2 children, neither of which wanted to go to school today. And so I walked to school. As much as, you know, when people talk on the internet like, oh, I love taking my kids to school every day. Yeah, mainly I do. But some days you have mornings like today where you just think, it's not fun for anybody. All this whinging and moaning and tiredness. But anyway, what has resonated in what I've shared today? What has been stirred within you? Where do you want to go? Where do you need to go next? Are you at that point where you need to build from a blank piece of paper? Or do you just need to begin to elevate things? Maybe you're not making the money that you thought you would be earning. Maybe you're quite experienced, but yet it still feels hard. It still feels unpredictable. It still feels uncertain. Or maybe you're at that point where you're just having a lot of self-doubt and it's holding you back and you don't quite know how to work with it and move through it and find a way. I would love to welcome you into your personal brand plan. Come and check it out. It's on my Work With Me page. There are 2 ways to join. You can work with me one-on-one, side-by-side for 100 days, or you can do the DIY version, which has got everything in it. And if you pay in full, you get a complimentary strategy session experience, which is great. Lots of love. See you in there. Bye.